As the year comes to an end, many traders feel an uncomfortable urge to finish the year strong. They tell themselves just one more trade, just one last push. But that pressure often does more harm than good. In this episode, we are talking about why traders chase closure at year end and why letting go of it might be the smartest decision you make this year. You are listening to the Confidence in Trading podcast. I am your host, Agnieszka Wood, a trading mindset coach and a seasoned day trader with over a decade of experience. If you are new to my show, don't forget to subscribe so you can come back for the next episode. In this podcast, we explore the fascinating world of psychology and the human element of trading. We take a deep dive into different perspectives to inspire you and help you navigate the emotional ups and downs of trading with self-compassion and confidence. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro, this podcast is your trusted companion providing support on your trading journey. Get ready to boost your confidence and unlock the secrets to mastering your mindset for success. Welcome to episode 71, Why Traders Feel the Need to Finish Strong and Why It Backfires. Hi, Greg. Welcome back.
Hi, guys. Hopefully, you guys are doing absolutely outstanding today. And we're going to be able to share maybe some ideas and concepts to be able to close some of those loops to feel some less pressure in your world.
Wonderful. Yes, because today we will talk about that need for closure and how it's costing traders consistency. This is something that I notice when the year end comes, there is this pressure, there's this urgency, like are our goals achieved? Have we done everything that we planned? And there is a lot of urgency coming with that. And very often self-judgment, because that finishing strong, fixing the year, like especially in trading when your year wasn't as you have imagined, the Santa Claus rally, a lot of people are like hoping for that. There's this feeling like something is left open and we need to close it. And a lot of times it shows up in forcing trades, emotional approach to the market, and harsh self-judgment. And I'm curious, Greg, if you see the same thing with traders, like this urgency to close the year emotionally, not just financially, but from the emotional perspective.
Oh, 100% yes. Even in just a general sense of humans, yes. But in traders, 100% yes. There's so many of us, and I will include myself in that because I used to do the same thing, where you would begin trading in the year and you'd have a certain X amount of dollars and you wanted to close that gap by the end of the year being up, being better, being whatever it is goal that you had to achieve. And if you are up or down, no matter what it is, you are still striving to be like, okay, I set something out. I know I'm going to be able to accomplish it. I gotta do it. Oh my God. All right. What happens if I'm not there? I'm not there yet. And that just starts to create such a chaotic nature of running on a hamster wheel inside your head
Right.
on how am I going to get there? What am I going to do? Okay. So I only have X amount of days left to be able to do this. I said by January 1st. That stuff kills you.
Yeah,
in the end.
absolutely. I remember for myself that, as a very ambitious person, I always put myself those goals and targets for trading, like for life, but for trading, especially whether it was an amount of money or a certain percentage that I wanted to make. And then when I wasn't there, I would really push towards that. And it's like, yeah, that 1%, I still need to get that 1%. But then when I got to the target, I would still, as you said, I would still wanted to make it better, like even, outdo myself. It's just so interesting how we know how to push ourselves, especially when we are almost at the end of something. A lot of times it's about proving something, like you want to prove something to yourself.
Yeah.
And the whole closing the loop, let's talk about that, because there's actually a psychological reason for this. Like when we are entering a trade, whether it's a swing trade or a day trade, there is something that is called the Garnick effect,
Mm-hmm.
where our brain holds onto unfinished and unresolved experiences. And when it's unfinished, we are emotionally charged. So we have this natural drive to completion. We want to complete things, and then we feel kind of, more at ease. And this is not just in trading. I mean, you can absolutely notice it when you enter a trade, and even when it goes the way that you have planned for, right? That you imagine this is how it's gonna go, you still feel that, oh, I just want to close it. And the more tension is being created because you're getting more and more in profit, and the fear comes like, okay, I'm gonna maybe lose it, it's gonna turn around. All the pressure is making you even giving you a stronger urge to finish that loop. I just want to close, I just want to be out of it. And with losing trades, it's exactly the same. I used to hang on to the losers like forever, hoping for it to return to my price at least. And I remember that at some point the pain was so big that I didn't even care anymore what loss that was. I was just like, I just want to close it. I'm done. I just want to be done with it. And that was usually the moment when the price would turn around, right? I mean, a whole thing completely. Please do not do that. This is a very bad thing that I used to do. And I have been
Agreed.
cured from that the hard way. So do not do that. But it is also an example of like how at a certain point, like it's a lost case anyway because of our drive to completion, and we want to close it. And then at some point we want to do that for everything in life. Even when you have a conversation or like an argument with your loved ones, right? You want to talk it out. You want to make the clean
Yeah.
slate, right? You want to finish it somehow, like resolve it, which is such an interesting thing because the best way to do it is actually just drop it, just let it rest. Let's do not dig deeper into this problem because it's only gonna get worse. And then the conversations about socks laying around turns into you don't respect me and you don't love me and all that kind of things.
Oh God, yeah. Then that snowball starts rolling downhill, and you're like, "Good God, how did we even get here?" Like
Right.
it becomes such a massive undertaking when, in actuality, you could have closed that a whole lot easier and simpler by just saying, "Okay,
Right. Just let it rest, right? Let it rest. Get out of it now.
I'm good. I'm out."
Just like with trades.
100%. It's the same exact thing as trading. When you get into trades and you feel like you're losing, okay, accept your loss. Don't make it worse. Don't double down on your loss. See that it's a loss. Okay, get out of it. And then figure out where to allocate your funds into a trade that you have better odds in positioning. Figure that out.
Yeah.
Just let it be what it is.
I think it is such an important thing to be aware of that natural drive to completion, that our brain hates unfinished emotional loops because every trader is experiencing it. In trading, the unfinished often looks like a red month, right? When you have a red month, just notice what is happening in your head. What is it that you are telling yourself? What kind of promises are you making to yourself? And then you're just trying to kind of make it better. And a lot of times you start over trading because you are trying to revenge trade your red month. Or when you miss opportunity, the same thing. When you miss an opportunity, you have there's this feeling
Yeah.
like there's something that is not whole, right?
Yeah.
There's something that there is like you just want to fill in that gap. Or when you feel like you are not being where you should be by now.
Yep.
How many times do we hear that from traders?
Endless all the time. When you feel like they should be in a totally different location than what they are now, and I have goals. I need to meet my goals. I have to be able to. Goals are good. We're not saying don't have them. That's okay. What we're saying is you don't need to close them and finish them by the end of this year. The goals are good to have. Keep working at them. You're going to get better. Your goals are going to change. You're going to change.
A lot of times it's like I should be already profitable or I should be consistent after so many years of trading. That's like this thing that is really sore that eats on many traders, or broken promises to yourself. Like you made a promise, you broke it, the emotional loop is not complete, and now you feel bad about yourself. So you have to remember that the brain doesn't want accuracy, it wants closure because it seeks relief.
Mm-hmm.
So when you take that, and next time you trade and you are in a trade and you feel like you want to get out of a winning trade, or you are feeling like I just need to end this, while you know you should be actually waiting for a trade, you're like, I just want to take a trade and I'll be done. That's another thing, like right in the morning, like, yeah, I just want to start trading, and then I just want to take 2 3 trades, make money, and then be done with it. It's like, yeah, that's what your brain is telling you, because you just want to be done with it, because it's uncomfortable to sit here and wait for the opportunity that, by the
Yeah.
way, might not come today. That's not comfort.
No, it's not, because you're opening up so many other different loops that you're going to need to close. The more you open, the more your entire human biology is going to fight to say, okay, that's completed. I can close that loop. It's a lot of what they teach OCD. And for individuals that have OCD, a lot of what their training is don't close the loop.
Mm.
For them, that's a completely different strategy when it becomes a very big hindrance in your life. For OCD, when you see something, you have to, touch something 6 times or tie your shoes 3 times or whatever that is. Your loop that you're creating inside that has to reach completion. And that's when it gets to a different level. So the Zernick effect is actually just the base level of you starting the loops that you need to create. And if they do become very heavy in your life and they start to dominate, that's when you start moving into the OCD tendencies where you couldn't do anything else until that loop is
That is
closed.
so interesting. So, you just made me realize that when I was a little girl, probably I was around 7, 8, I apparently had OCD. I just realized that, because I remember at that time, with all the consequences of my heart operation, at some point I was talking about, and the panic attacks that I was having because of that, I had this kind of tendencies that I remember I would say a word, and it had to sound in a certain way to me in order to stop saying it. So I would say it like 2 or 3 times. And then when people were around me, I would think this is crazy. So I would find a way to seem normal, and I would just say it kind of quiet to myself instead of to them. But I would say like 2 or 3, sometimes 4 times before it was okay, you can now close it. So that's OCD. That's so interesting.
Yeah, when OCD starts to take over your life, you normal people have versions of it where we'll be like, I'd like to be able to complete that, but if I can't, it's not going to change my life. When you get to the second level and then you start getting into dominance of the way that you operate in life, it becomes obsessive, and now you can't go on to the next loop until you complete that one, and
Oh,
then
wow.
it becomes detrimental to, okay, so now we need to restructure your brain to say, okay, I can start something, but I also don't have to finish that. And I need to get comfortable with
Mm.
that unsettling feeling of, oh, okay, I only tied my shoes twice today. Oh boy, okay. But my shoes are tied. Facts dictate, yes, your shoes are tied. You don't need a third time to tie your shoes, because the completion of the loop doesn't need to be dedicated on your own count of how many times you decide to do things or whatever it is that you're obsessing about.
Oh, wow. I am so glad that somehow I got over it when I was very young. Because I cannot imagine. But I mean, if you do have OCD, then it's even more so than in trading, that you have to learn to live with that discomfort of not finished business.
Yeah, you have to be able to figure out, and in that then you'd have to move into a different category of understanding, is your OCD on the completion of opening a trade and closing a trade, or is your OCD on the opening and creating the closing of a positive trade? Then it becomes different strategies and how you choose to dictate the treatment plan to be able to figure out, all right, how do I get you out of that loop that you're in because it's dominating the way you go about your life?
Yeah.
And that's just a very different strategy to be able to help people learn it's okay. It is, I promise, life will be okay
Yeah.
if you close the refrigerator door once, not five.
Yeah, I'm laughing,
You're
but I
good.
mean, yeah, for a lot of people,
Yeah.
it's a serious problem. And yeah, in trading, like if you think about it, when you have a winning trade and then you have a losing trade, there is something in you that says, "It's one more trade. Just let me just make up for that losing trade because it took part of my profit. I want to make it up." So it's just interesting
Yep.
to realize that this is not about you being greedy. This is not about you being, wrong, or something is wrong with you. You are truly every second when you are trading, you are dealing with your own psychology and how our dynamics, the brain dynamics, are how we are operating as human beings. That's just so fascinating. And thank you for sharing that part of OCD. I had no idea.
Yeah, I have
That's
I've
amazing.
helped quite a few people figure out strategies that help them get over their OCD tendencies. Because there's all strategies behind it, or even snapping the whole body back into reality of, like, eating a lemon, where your body has to
Hmm.
react into that. Oh
Yeah.
God, oh, that will snap you back out of your loop of completing the tendency to be like, oh, okay, whoa, what just happened? That actually calms your mind down to bring you back to reality.
Coming back to present moment,
Yeah.
snap yourself out of it. Yeah. So if any of you who are listening have any tendencies, OCD tendencies, Greg is your man.
Yeah, and that's it's a totally different strategy when you're talking about trading, because for trading for us, eh, we almost don't even have time to have that come into play, because we're opening and closing trades in the time frame that we choose that is reasonable for us. Sometimes we trade all day, sometimes we trade for the morning or the afternoon or whatever that is, but more often than not, we're in shorter time frames, and closing that loop just means closing a trade. It doesn't mean closing the end of the year in the same way that you opened up and your goals in the beginning. It just creates more stress for you.
Yeah, and it's such a great point because how many times we say to ourselves, if I take this loss, I'm not going to make it. We
Mm-hmm.
just really put it into perspective of like the whole success, right? It's not just this one trade, but like if I do this, then I'm a failure. And this gets a lot of emotional charge. And when you are judging yourself in that way, because that's a judgment. Like if you're telling yourself, I won't be able to make it, or things go really wrong if you close this losing trade, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself, and that creates more discomfort, meaning you want that closure even more.
Mm-hmm.
So the more you put yourself into discomfort, the more of that automatic survival instinct you are activating, and the less control you have over your own behavior and over your own decisions, because you snap into the automatic programming, which is on a subconscious level.
Mm-hmm. And then it just puts you right back into the same thing that puts you where you are now, which is nervous or unsettled or don't have closure. And you're going to repeat that same process. So
Right.
it happens to far too many of us, me included. I used to do the same thing when I was younger, and it just took for me multiple different times to be able to understand the concept that there is no real closure that I need by the end of the year. It just means that I better now than what I was a week ago, a year ago, 5 years ago. Yeah, I am,
Yeah.
and there is no closure to that.
Actually, it makes me think of different phases in the development as a trader, because at the beginning you're just trading whatever, however you think it's the best, without knowing really like how you should trade. Are you breaking all the rules, etc.? I'm not going to talk about that part.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about the part where you have a plan, and you force yourself to follow that plan because you don't have yet the right discipline to actually execute the plan without the willpower and without being hard on yourself. And there is clear definition of where your targets are. Now, I guess a lot of times the question of is it good to have a target or shall I just let it run? And that's a very interesting question from that point of view of closing emotional loop, because if you don't have the discipline, if you don't have the integrity to get out at a certain point when it's going the other way than you wish, then this might cause you actually losing the profit that you made. But in general, when the trade goes in the direction that you hoped for, yes, you can keep going, knowing that at some point you will feel this emotional urgency to close the trade.
Yeah, you will.
Because of the urge to
Correct.
completion. And because of it becomes too uncomfortable. And that is why swing trading, a lot of times it's easier because you're not sitting watching.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Whether the trade is going up or down, you're not looking at those little whipsaw and you're just checking it, once a day or however often your system is. But it's not easy to let the profit run.
It's not.
That is just not easy because it's really uncomfortable. Just notice, like when you have a target, just notice what feeling it gives you when you are seeing the price almost reaching the target. Oh, it's almost there. It's almost there. There's this anticipation. And when it's completed, it's like, oh.
Yeah, it's a sigh of relief that you were right, that it got to where you thought it would go, that you were on the side that is winning for whichever way it went. Yeah, it's a completion of your own confidence. It's a completion of your own ego. It's a completion of your own emotional control. It is a completion of positive or negative trade.
Yeah. And when your price is not hit, when your target is not hit, and it's like, I don't know, 10 cents away, 20 cents away, just notice how your brain starts playing with you. Do you get out and you go like, okay, the chance that it's going to go back there, like what is the chance? How often does it happen? Right. So that you really take information based on the real data. Or are you thinking, I was almost there. Let me just wait. Let me just wait. In the meantime, you see this thing turning around, right? And you still don't get out. Like, how many times did this happen? For me, it was like constantly because I wanted to be right. I wouldn't give my 20 cents for that.
Mm-hmm. I did used to do the same thing. When we've chatted about this in episodes in the past, like even if you choose to be right, who are you proving yourself right to? It's not like you're going to turn around and go out in the streets and hand out your positive trades that day and be like, hey, everybody, you see my trades for today? Told you I was right. They're going to be like, who the hell are you? Why do you care? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Right.
You're going to try to prove yourself
Yeah.
that you were right or wrong.
Unless your goal is to be the best trader in the world.
Sure. And then if you're going to do that institutionally, you're in a whole different ballgame.
Right. So yeah, closure seeking, remember, it's not growth. If you want to grow, it is not about seeking the closure. It's about being comfortable with the discomfort of not closing the loop, because this is where the opportunity really is. It's about looking for the opportunities of growth in the discomfort, because growth is movement and changes. And changes are always uncomfortable. This is how we keep ourselves safe and stagnant, because we are trying to close the loop. We are trying to run into safety. And that prevents us from the growth that we want.
It does. And no matter how many times you experience it in life, yes, we're specifically talking about trading, and we are talking about the end of the year and you trying to figure out if you were positive or negative in the year and becoming better at trading. Yes, that is a real thing. But ultimately, even in the beginning of the year, did you really sit down and set yourself a goal that you knew was a number? Or did you really sit down and say, I want to trade 500 trades this year and I want to be positive on 371 of them? So when even you're talking about closing out the year and closing the loop and closing the ideas and concepts so that you can move on, You have to be, even if you're going to approach that, you have to be truthful with yourself about what your goal even is. Because if you're just going to say, I wanted to trade this year, there's no end to that goal. You're going to want to trade next year too. And you're going to want to trade better next year. So even if you open yourself up to saying, I want to be a better trader, that's an endless, and you can't close that gap. That's never going to be. You're always going to get better. The more you do this, the better you get. So try to lessen the amount of weight that you carry when you're starting to recognize that you're setting goals for yourself, which are good, but they are not the end all be all to make sure that you have achieved something or proven to yourself that you have now X marks the spot. I'm there. Yes.
Yeah. And when you set your goals, setting goals is good, but that's just the beginning. Because if you set yourself a goal, now you have to make a plan how you are going to execute that goal. Otherwise, it's just some meaningless, this is what I want. But then how do you know that you are even moving towards that goal? So that at the end of the year, you can be fair to yourself and really evaluate and look at what did I do to achieve that goal? Because if your goal is very, it doesn't matter even how vague it is, but if you don't have a plan how you're going to get there, how can you then beat yourself up that you haven't achieved that? So first, have a goal and then make a plan. And once you have that, now your plan becomes your goal.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives you much higher chance that you will actually achieve your goals. Because once you start making a plan, you will see if this goal you're setting for yourself is even feasible. And that will give you much better opportunity to actually review that goal more from a perspective of accountability and more in a constructive way than just judging yourself, oh, I didn't achieve my goal.
Correct. Because you're going to get clarity. That's the most important aspect of figuring out how you want to figure the end of this year. And too many of us just walk in with this grandiose vision or idea or concept or goal that we wanted to be X at the end of this year. Well, the clarity that you need needs to be defined before you even begin this. And that starts with a goal, and it starts with a plan, and it starts with execution. And if you didn't do any of that plan or execution, you get chaos. You don't get clarity.
Right.
You have to be able to figure out how clarity is your closure.
That's so well said, because what I see is that a lot of times the year end reviews are actually, instead of creating the clarity that people need, they destroy their confidence. Instead of showing where things went wrong and what can you improve, people tell themselves a story, and that story often is, I failed, I'm behind, something is wrong with me. And that only reinforces the negative identity, and it doesn't set you up in the right way for next year goals.
Mm-hmm.
So I would suggest, if you start reviewing your year, don't look at P&L, review your behavior,
Mm-hmm.
because that will give you much better indication of how did you grow, where is the opportunity to grow more. And if you look at the data is more objective than our perception of what actually happened.
Yes.
I cannot tell you how often, when I look at the data from traders I work with, how big discrepancy it is with what they thought the year was. Like, they thought it was terrible, but then when you see the percentages, they have improved significantly. But because people often are so caught up in their own old
Mm-hmm.
identity of, I'm failing, I'm not succeeding, I'm losing, that, even one loss can trigger that identity and call it back into existence. And they start judging themselves instead of learning from what they are actually seeing that is happening. What do you think a healthy review should actually do?
It would all depend on the scope of what we're talking about. For traders, I highly, highly recommend that your year-end review begin with percentages, as you had stated. Because in the beginning, you're going to start to recognize, oh, my winning was, 6%. So I was, I was 6% profit in that trade. I was minus 14% on that trade. Oh boy. All right. So now oh boy, I'm in the red. Okay. Rather than looking at I lost X amount of dollars, start looking at closing the gap in percentages where your green trades need to be at a higher percentage rate, meaning that you're winning at 14%, 16% clip, and your loses you're at a 4%, 6%, 8% clip. Those are going to create better results for you in trading because you're going to be able to review something that is tangible rather than making it heavy of saying, oh my God, that was a $400 loss. Oh no. That's
Yeah.
a dollar amount that I can attach to that. Oh my God, that feels so heavy. Oh my God, I hate that. But when you're looking at it from a human perspective, there's a different threshold to figuring out what you measure that against. And that becomes, have you learned more? How are you able to explain what you do now in an easier manner? Have you been able to help another individual get better at something because you figured out methods to get by it or get through it or over it, whatever that is? No matter what the situation is at the year end aspects of what people continually do, I always try to leave this as an open-ended concept that you will always be better. But that doesn't mean you can't show results of being better than when you started. There's a difference between standing on the results that you have now and recognizing that those results are temporary and they will change next year. They will change the year after that and the year after that.
Absolutely. I have something that a very simple guideline that I use, and I would like to give it to you guys who are listening. It's like this clean mental model for you to use to review your year, your trading year. So there are 4 lenses that I would like you to look through. The first one is your behavior. Ask yourself, what did I repeatedly do under pressure? What kind of behavior was I consistently repeating when I was under pressure? And from there, you will have a very clear guidance of what is it that you can work on next. The second lens is the process. Where did I follow my plan and where did I drift? What were the things that caused me to get away from my plan? And how did I do it when I did follow my plan? I really encourage you to reverse engineer your good behavior, so to say. When you do something well, even when you feel good about yourself, when you feel good regardless of trading, how do you do that? Write it down. What are your steps? What are your strategies to achieve the state of being, state of feeling that you desire? And do more of it. The third lens is capacity. How well did you manage your emotional energy? Remember that trading causes a lot of emotional turmoil, and preserving your emotional capital is huge. Your emotional capital is very different at the beginning of the day than 2 hours into trading, maybe even 1 hour, depending on how volatile market is and how good decisions you are making. Being able to manage your emotional capital and replenish as you go, this is creating your edge in trading. And not just in trading, in your life as well, so that you don't get burnout. And it's really easy to get burnout with trading. So if you want to keep enjoying being a trader long term, make sure that you do look in your reviews at how well you manage your emotional energy. And then the last one is the integrity part, which those of you who have been with me for a while know that I put incredible importance on that lens. And that's, did I act in my own best interest? And this is not about being egoistic. This is about taking care that the decisions you are making are not harming you. In trading, there's no one else who's going to take care of your interest. So you have to be the one who does that. Not egoistic. It's more of self-loving approach. So looking at the lens of integrity, did I act in my own best interest? And how did I do it? What were the conditions that allowed me to do it? And when was it that I didn't? Because you will start seeing patterns. And, trading is all about patterns, right? This is not just patterns on the chart, which are also, by the way, patterns of trading behavior, but these are mostly about your own patterns, especially those subconscious patterns that you are bringing into your trading desk. Few things that I would like to ask you to intentionally avoid in your review. Your P&L. Stop measuring yourself through your P&L. Stop measuring your self-worth. Stop proving your self-worth through how much money you made. And like Greg said, looking at percentages will give you much better indicator of whether you are growing, whether you had a good year, whether you had a better year than the year before, if you made a review last year, instead of looking at the dollar amount. Because as you know, it's never enough. And if that's the case, that means that if you measure your self-worth through that, that means you will never be enough. So do not look at the total P&L. Drop should have thinking. Should have, would have. If you knew that you should have done something, you probably would have done it, because this is how we are designed. We are designed to protect ourselves. And if you know afterwards, I should have done that, it doesn't mean you are a genius. It's very easy to know it afterwards. We are all geniuses after the fact.
Yeah. Your IQ is a million after the fact because you know the answers.
Yeah. And make sure that you are reviewing your trading in one context. There's a difference whether you're trading 5 minutes, 1 minute, or a daily chart. And it's very easy to judge yourself when you day trade and you had a losing day, and then you go to a daily chart and you're like, oh, how could I lose money today? It was such a good day. Yeah. It's completely different lens. It's completely different. The chart looks very different on the other time frame. So do not mix those things, because it will only create harsh judgment of yourself. And we have done that, all of it. This is not, we're not saying this because we think, hey, you should do it. We don't.
No, God, no.
I've done these mistakes before.
1,000,000%. 99.999% of the things that you and I talk about are things that we have done, gone through, experienced, failed at, and succeeded at.
Right. So what if the goal of the review isn't the closure at all? What if it's integration?
It very well should be.
Because we're talking about long-term performance, right?
Lifelong performance, where you should be better every year, no matter what it is you're doing. We can consistently say it in trading that, yes, you can get better, but as a lifelong mentality and concept of what you want to be as a human, better. That's it. You every day you get up and everything that you do. Some people trading is their life. Other people trading is part of their life. And either way, at the end of the day, you want to be better. Whether a better trader, a better human, a better friend, a better partner, better parent, better uncle, aunt, driver, don't care. But whatever that is for you, just strive to be better at it. That way you're not going to be able to take it into your year and say, oh my God, it's terrible. Oh no. And just put stress and anxiety on yourself. Just be better than where you started.
Exactly. And it is really truly about staying in the game. If you are deciding to be a trader for a living, or even if you don't trade for a living, but this is something you want to do for the rest of your years, or at least for the coming years, right? Even if you have a job next to it, still, it is not about the number. It is about staying in the game. This is the challenge that we all take, right? Trading is challenging. And
oh, yes, it is.
And staying in the game is a very satisfying feeling when you can come back the next day and trade. And I have to say that it is a little bit different these days where there are a lot of prop firms.
Yeah.
So this drive to
Yep.
completion, and actually for prop traders, if you think about it, how often they're losing their accounts and then they have to buy a new one, right? And redo. This is a typical drive to completion, right? Just a lot of times, like, okay, when things are going wrong, it's like, oh, it's okay if I blow it up, I just buy a new one. That's a typical drive to
Yeah.
completion in action.
Yeah.
And this is something that, being aware of that and telling yourself this is about staying in the game. So I'm not here to, it's not about that next payout. It's not about getting qualified and all those artificial milestones. It is about how am I gonna stay in the game? Just think Hunger Games. How am I gonna survive today so that I can play tomorrow again?
All the time. In trading and in life, same thing. Stay in the game.
Yeah. Markets don't reset on January 1st, despite of what, everyone is trying to get a certain number by the end of the year, maybe for the bookkeepers or to put it on the wall, like this is how I close the year. And guys, I don't blame you, because just this morning I was talking to my husband about that, like looking at my numbers, like, oh, okay, I grew my account quite nicely. I fed my ego.
100%. You got validated.
I got validated. So don't beat yourself up if you do that. But the truth is, January 1st is just a really artificial deadline. The consistency is built across time. There is no calendar boundaries. It lives in how we carry the lessons that we learn forward. It's not about, okay, I just want to close this year and then next year will be all beautiful. Because when you have that feeling like, I don't care about this year anymore, next year I'm going to do so much better. Remember, next year you will do as good as your actions today. And you can start today your next year. You don't have to wait until January 1st. It's every day's effort.
Yeah.
And I want to leave you guys with this question. What if the goal this year isn't closure, but becoming someone who no longer needs it? Ponder on it, maybe journal, and really ask yourself, can I become someone? Can I become the trader who doesn't need the closure anymore and just continue with the long-term perspective, with the perspective of everything that I do today impacts my future tomorrow. And as this episode comes out just after Christmas, I want to take a moment also to wish you a peaceful end to the year. And whatever this year looked like for you in trading, whether you had wins, losses, lessons, or some unfinished chapters, remember, you don't have to force an ending. Take these last days as a chance to slow down, integrate what you have learned, and let go of the pressure to prove or fix anything. I wish you a new year grounded in clarity, patience, and self trust. One where consistency is built calmly, step by step, every day, and where you trade in a way that truly serves you.
Wholeheartedly agree. I will echo every one of those statements and finish it by saying we appreciate all of you for coming and listening. And hopefully, we've been adding some value to this year for all of you. And the way you close this out, I truly hope you learn to master yourself so that the outside world doesn't do it for you.
Beautifully said. Thank you, Greg, for being here. I wish you also a great new year, and I can't wait to see what the new year is going to bring to us. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We love you guys. Thank you for being here with us throughout the whole year. And we hope to see you next year and talk to you in the next episode. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Confidence in Trading podcast. If you are enjoying my show, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and tell me what you like about it. Thanks to you, more traders will be able to find me, and together we'll make a bigger impact. So thank you so much. If you are new to my show, don't forget to subscribe so you can come back for the next episode. And make sure to also check some of the previous shows. Thank you again for tuning in. This is Agnieszka Wood from Ahead Coach. Bye for now.